How does your product use or challenge conventions, and how does it represent social groups or issues?
For, so firstly, my product is a romantic tragedy film. So first, it challenges conventions because it's not a typical genre that most films have, and the topic of our film is that a person dies and they become a spirit and they get attached to a living person, which honestly it's not really represented in this world a lot, because we only talk about how living people get attached to the dead, but when the dead gets attached to us, we don't know the consequences, and this challenges the conventions of how spirits or how we view other people, the people who has passed, as. The issue of attachment is honestly very, very widespread, because everyone has a certain attachment to something, and an attachment in a relationship, especially between a couple, is extremely strong, and it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a good one all the time.
How does your product engage with audiences, and how would it be distributed as a real media text?
The 2-minute opening that we did, it engages the audience right away. It sets the mood and tone. It makes the audience feel what the protagonist is feeling right away with every technique we used. And it will probably be distributed in a cinema, as it was aimed to be for the mass. So the trailer will be on advertisements and YouTube and every other media platforms we could reach, especially magazines and newspapers as well.
How did your production skills develop throughout this project?
I was mainly involved in the pre-production, so I wrote the script, the storyboard, and for the script I had to go into the details of what we think would be best for the protagonist and for the film to show what we want to show best. And for the storyboard, we had to look at blocking and how the characters will act, stand, interact with each other. So that made me develop my time management skills and attention to detail a lot, and the sequencing of the characters had to be very on point to not destroy the tone and the mood of the film.
How did you integrate technologies such as software, hardware, and online in this project?
So we used the camera and all the other gadgets that we had to use to make the quality good. And then we used editing tools such as iMovie and Premiere to edit the film to make it look professional, and color grading, which May was in charge of. And we also used Wix for our blog, which helped us consolidate our ideas and what we want to do in the film.
How are the aims of the film opening met?
Our aims were to set the mood and tone and to make the audience be engaged in the film, and we wanted to send out a message of attachment and create emotional connection between the audience and the film. And we wanted to make it a memorable opening, which I think it was met.
What were the strengths and weaknesses of the film opening, and what improvements could you make?
The strengths would be how well we managed to set the tone of the film, and the editing was also very smooth, and it made everything go along together well, and it was just very solid and it flowed very well. But I think the improvements we could make is to add diegetic sounds, which are like sounds of heels or keys rattling, which will emphasize the mood and tone, create all the connections to make it as realistic as possible. And we also should have included a long shot so that it would be like more natural, to the audience.